Hi guys, Oliver here from Spitfire Audio. This is a quick buyer's guide if you're interested in our Thunderbolt promotion. This year we offer strings for all things. So let me explain. There's two options. Option number one, there's 40% off individual products: Studio Strings Core, Studio Strings Pro, LCO strings, alternative solo strings, Albion Tundra and chamber strings. Or you can buy all of these products together and save more than 50% with our Thunderbolt collection. In the Thunderbolt collection, you have Studio Strings Pro, so you won't get Core because basically Core is included in Pro, LCO strings, alternative solo strings, Albion Tundra, and chamber strings. This promotion goes on for 2 days, starting on Thursday the 11th of February and ending on Friday the 12th of February 2021. So, why strings for all things? Well, we thought we include a selection of our string libraries that will get you through most genres. Intimate dramas, big Hollywood scores, your left field, quirky kind of short film, your pop or electronic productions. And first up, our studio strings. The studio strings are recorded in Studio One at Air Studios in London. A dry, crisp and vibrant sound will let you control and mold the sound incredibly well. This is your pro-end option for detailed writing, not only for picture, but for hip-hop, pop or electronic productions. So I'd say that's your big daddy of the Thunderbolt collection. Let's look what's inside the Studio Strings Core. We'll get to Pro in a second. So we have violins 1 section, violins 2, violas, cello and basses. And if we dive into here, advanced, individual articulations, we can really see how detailed you can write. I mean, you have different legatos, you have different types of longs with muted strings, you have flautando longs, harmonics, etc. A ton of shorts, tremolos, measures, trills, and that's for all the sections. And in the Studio Strings Core, you get one mic selection, which is the tree. So that's the microphone or the 3 microphones usually that sit above the conductor. So I've loaded here violins 1 legato. And you can tell it's quite a short tail, so there's your dry and crisp sound. You have a lot of opportunity and options to play with your own reverb and production styles. You can increase the reverb, although it's not really a reverb, it's just a little bit more of the room. Or you can take it all the way down. So you have it super tight and crisp. Then, for example, flautando, one of my favorite articulations. Very beautiful and honest and close-up sound. Let's just quickly address what's in the Studio Strings Professional. So as mentioned, you have the option of increasing the section, so you can have 16 first violins, 12 seconds, 12 violas, 12 celli, and 4 basses. You can also halve the section, so you can have divisi as well, so which gives you much more control over the sound, as well as having more mic options. So you get 2 different close mics, 2 different trees, ambient and outriggers. I really like the ambient and outriggers. It sounds really natural in the room. Let me just play you here quickly. A bit of consort. We haven't heard this one yet. Again, very dry sound, but when you play it, you can hear the section is bigger and it sounds a little bit wider while having these 2 mic or signals selected. By the way, the session was engineered by Grammy Award-winning engineer Simon Rhodes. Just a little bit more information about the studio strings and what sound you can achieve. Studio One at Air Lyndhurst is incredibly popular. Bands like Coldplay, Radiohead, U2 or Dua Lipa have recorded there, as well as small string sections and orchestras for films and TV, such as Doctor Who or A Very English Scandal. Here's an example of how the studio sounds like in the form of Alberto Iglesias' Dolor y Gloria. And here is how the library sounds. Bear in mind, this is the core version, so you only have the 3 microphone. A lovely demo here by Paul Thompson. And then here we have the Pro version, demonstrated here by Christian, using it in a more electronic and produced way. Another example of the professional version. Next up, we have the London Contemporary Orchestra strings. Now this is for your cutting edge and modern sounding chamber string needs. This library includes over 100 never before sampled articulations. It features a unique ensemble of 6 violins, 4 violas, 3 cellos and 2 basses. The sound again here is tight, crisp and controllable. We've recorded this one at our lovely studio in the Spitfire HQ. This sound is definitely for you if you look for the left field approach. The LCO has collaborated with Johnny Greenwood, Frank Ocean, Mika Levy, Actress, Steve Reich, amongst many others, and recorded soundtracks such as There Will Be Blood, Suspiria, You Were Never Really Here, Under the Skin and many, many more. Let me just play you Under the Skin. One of my favorite articulations of the whole library are these spectral scrubs. I've used them myself actually to sketch out my first album. Very wonderful sound there. Then you have the basses and the cello together. Very nice combination there. So I've loaded this twitchy articulation here. It's quite interesting. Then these short slackened are really cool. So you can have a lot of fun with very specific articulations there. So let me just play you this demo by Hugh Brunt, one of the founders of the LCO. Very cool. One of my favorite personal libraries. Next up, we have the alternative solo strings. And as the name says it, this is your go-to for solo strings. This is a raw, honest and controllable sound recorded at the Spitfire HQ as well, with 4 of the most interesting and progressive string soloists in London. This library is for you if you look for an upfront Warren Ellis and Nick Cave style writing, a Hans Zimmer style overdub on top of a large orchestra, or indeed a virtuoso solo performance. I think this track for the Assassination of Jesse James by Warren Ellis and Nick Cave sums up the intention of the library quite well. Wow, what a lovely piece of music. So, as said, you can do virtuoso performances. So, you have a performance patch here included, which allows you to play basically with two hands if you need to, and you don't have to control because it's all programmed for you. You've got a bunch of mic choices there. I said it's recorded in a dry space, so you can put it in all sorts of contextual purposes and rooms and reverbs. We also have some longs alternative, so you get a bit of inspiration there as well if you need it. And then you get a bunch of other articulations here, long sul tasto, for example. And you can really relate to the soundtrack that I've just played you, and it captured that sound really, really well there. What I really love about this one is actually the pizzicato of the bass. Really cool. Here an example of the alternative solo strings in action with a lovely demo from Homai. Next up, we have Albion V Tundra, and now this is straight up your very contemporary and trendy, full of character Scandinavian sound. It's a 100-piece orchestra playing at the very edge of silence, inspired by Estonian forests, Scottish lochs, Norwegian fjords, or indeed the Icelandic tundra. With this one though, you not only have strings, but a full orchestra, loops, percussion, pads, and textures at your hands. So let me show you a little bit what's inside. We have the full orchestra, we have brass highs, lows, strings, we have some softer articulations and main articulations, then we have strings lows, woods, high and lows as well. And we have some Brunel loops, there's a ton of this stuff in there, it's really cool. Some raw presets, so Christian recorded a bodhran here, key tree, metal rings, and then we put them through effects, etc. And all sorts of really cool stuff is happening. I'll show you in a second. Stevenson steam bands, Darwin percussion. This one is a little bit softer, as you can imagine, kind of Scandi, all soft. So you're not going to have your huge drum here, though, so that's not one for this. Then we have Stevenson steam bands. So this is atmosphere stuff, all kind of very frozen and mysterious and mystical and magical. And then we have this Vral grid or Viral grid, and actually I quite like this. And this kind of pinhole here represents a sample, so you can mix them up and you get like different combinations. It's inspired by our Evo grid. Wow, just wow. We have these traveling trims here, for example, for the high strings. Just pure beauty. High ricochet. Ricochet is something that you cannot do really well at programming your samples. So here we have a bunch of recordings for you. So in minor and in major, as you can tell. Low strings as well, a quick example. Here is frozen articulation, it's quite lovely. And it's recorded in a hall, so it has a bit of a bigger reverb tail there. Brass lows as well. I've loaded here one that's called Super Air. Just very inspiring high woods. Very elf-like there. These Brunel loops I was mentioning, so here one called Bodran. I mean, just this underneath a ricochet kind of chord progression and you're sorted with a cue. Tundra percussion, as mentioned, is quite soft. I think very useful for dramatic purposes. Stephenson steam bands here. Some pads, as mentioned. So as you can tell, this library gets you somewhere between left field and right down the middle orchestral, while being quite special. So think Arvo Pärt or perhaps Oliver Arnolds. I have here an example for you, a wonderful piece by Christian, and I know that Fratres and Arvo Pärt is a big inspiration to Christian, and here he's recreated and reworked this piece with a live violin, but I thought this captures the spirit of the library quite well. And here we have one, Only the Library. Wonderful piece from Homai. Now this one is my all-time favorite Spitfire audio library. And if you have limited budget and you can only get one of the libraries, get this one. This is my top recommendation. For me, this is one of the most beautiful and versatile string libraries out there. It's a 16-player ensemble recorded in a famous hall at Air Studios. The small section gives you detail and focus, yet it still captures the magnificent space of the hall. Without saying anything else, let me play you this. It's just very inspiring and lovely to write. If we dive into the library and I show you a little bit what's in there, you can actually see you not only have the ensemble. I like writing with the ensemble here and there, but if we go into Violins 1, you actually have a ton of articulations. And honestly, this covers you for most needs. And it's just the perfect size. You can even write big if you orchestrate it in a certain way or in the, I guess, correct way. So it's a small ensemble, but it's in the hall, and that's it. You can play with the room and make it sound big. You know, you can choose here the ambient mics. You can put on a little bit of extra splosh, etc. But if we look at all these legatos that we have here, flautando legato, sul G, sul pons, tremolo, etc. All these different articulations, that really gets you a long way, and we have them for all of the different sections. And again, the ensemble for me, a big plus, nicely balanced and mixed for you. So let me play you an example. Or something a little bit more out there by the incredible Annie Blaney. I hope you can make use of this wonderful offer and I could help you out. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments section. I really hope that you're keeping well and safe, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.